Hello Flosstube, my name is Kristen, and if you are new here, this channel is about my experiences with my cross stitch, and if you are returning, I appreciate you spending some more time with me. Today is Halloween, so happy Halloween. I am recording a little bit early just because the weekend's going to be really busy and crazy, and right now I have the house to myself, so I'm going to just take advantage of that. So I am going to start with the Christmas giveaway winner, just in case. That's the only reason you're here. We will get that out of the way. And full disclosure, I've already recorded this once, so I might be a little bit blah because I'm not gonna remember what I've said, but I haven't said it already once. So these were the smalls, Christmas smalls, and some fabric is what I was giving away. And the winner, I did do a random comment picker earlier, and the winner was LM Hoovable. So please send me your information, and I will get that out to you as soon as I can. Thank you. All right, so I have what I consider very exciting. Well, I have two things to haul. One's more exciting to me than the other, but I'm going to appreciate them both. So the first one is Lenart by Leisure Crafts Butterfly Fairies. That is day. And that is night. I've already been looking at different fabrics. There are no fractionals. It's just full cross and back stitches. So I'm just waiting for 1, 2, 3 stitch to say whether or not they can just cut it for me. But I chose an 18 count in the color Havisham, which is like, it looks like a really pale yellow with a tiny bit of lilac. So I thought that would look nice. And I may, so the corners here, that's just like blue stitching. I probably won't do that, especially if I got some pretty fabric. And then for this one, I had chose a color called Oracle, which is like a very pale gray with some green and blue hues to it, so I thought that might look nice because you'd have the moon there still. But of course I will show them to you when I get them. Okay, so I got a copy of my Mother of All Unicorn charts. I almost cried when I got it. I never thought that I'd get a copy of this because it was fairly reasonable as far as these charts go. So I did get a copy of Madonna of the Garden. And she's going to get a free pass into my 26 for 2026 because I have to. I have to stitch on her. I did order fabric, which I'll put a picture here somewhere from the fabric viewer. I chose Dreams by Fiberlicious Yummy Fibers. It's like a really pretty ombre. So I wanted something really special for them that wouldn't detract from the stitching at all. And I feel like that the fabric is really kind of pulls out the purples and some of the orange tones, and hopefully it will look as nice in person as it does on the fabric viewer. I did already order their beads and their metallics. I did get their DMC too, but it's just in a bag. So I'll pull them all out on the line and do a floss toss for you when I get it. So super excited for that. So I stitched on Heaven and Earth Designs because you guys chose that for me for this month, and as well as my 2 focus pieces. Oh, because I just did this already once. Everything's kind of everywhere. So let's see what I just did here. I'm pretty sure that one goes here. And this one's going to be a mystery. Nope, I know what that one is. Okay, so I worked twice on this one. This is the Rogue Dragon from Nora Corbett's Patreon. So this is the only full picture I have, but that's whoever stitched this did different things with the wings, so it's not actually going to look like that. So the little tiny bit that is charted is this tiny little picture. So you can see little orange bits down here. There's a lot of orange blocks in the wings, and I am stitching this as charted. And I am doing it on 28 count Sprite Lugana from Picture This Plus, which is like a really pale lilac-y kind of color. So I think I got a lot of this done and some of this part of his wing done. I don't think I did anything down here. I think I spent all my time up here. Wherever I was when I started, I'll put that picture up. I'm not sure why I took it out twice. I think because I'm so used to doing like a mixture of full coverage and not, that to have so many full coverage for me in 1 month seemed like a lot. So I think I just needed a change up, so I took that out a second time. And honestly, what did I do with my Q-snap? I only took out Outlander this morning. So where did it go? I have a picture. This is Outlander by Thread Geeks. If I get some more time, I'm going to reach, to stitch before we do our Halloween stuff tonight. I just started I did like 100 stitches over here. But I'll be taking them out again in November. So we'll try to make up for it. And then I worked on, so mini night day, I got 411 stitches done. This is 1/1 full cross on 25 count. And it's dark and windy out today. Do you hear some rumbling? Hopefully the power doesn't go out. So I think we got a lot of this section done. We actually just got some rain, which is amazing because we have been in an extreme drought, which is kind of scary because those of us who live out in the boonies have wells. And yeah, I'm driving the kids crazy with water conservation. And then I was really bad. I cannot tell you how many stitches I did on this one. I am doing 1/1 full cross on 20 count Monaco, and I am just still up in the background. I do know that I got up to 3.45%. And I think I did a lot in here. I think I was trying to come down and back up because I've made some mistakes somewhere. And it's just background, so I don't think it's going to be a big deal. So I'm just trying to do a workaround. And I did my mini day-night. I did 544 stitches. And this is also a 1/1 full cross on 25 count. And this time, I've spent the last few times I've taken out in the blocks down here that I really neglected any of this background, so I spent most of my time up here. I think I got there were some ninja stitches that I took care of, and now my tummy's growling. And I hopefully won't be snuffling and sniffing and coughing because I've also been ill this month. It's just that time of year. And then I got 875 stitches done on my Quick Stitch Phantom of the Opera. But I am also doing this 2/1 half cross on 28 count. And this is the only project that I have started that I started in the right corner. I'm not sure why, but I did work in this area. I really do need to go back up here next time and start pulling that together. We'll see. I have not... Oh no, I did choose my Heaven and Earth designs. That did not get picked for 2026. Both my John Shannon's did, so it's going to be mini night day and mini day night for 2026. For Heaven and Earth anyway. And then you guys chose for me to stitch for November on my Mirabilia Fancy Ladies. So I'm going to be starting the Forest Goddess. And I will be stitching her. Now her dress is going to look a little bit different. This is deceptive. It's got a lot more green in it than gold. She's really pretty stitched up. And I am going to stitch her on a piece of 28 count Monaco. I'm doing everything called for. And this is from the Crazy Hamster. In case you want to see her tag. I think she sells on, what's one of the, I think it's cross stitch. Stash Unloading Cross Stitch Only, I think, is the one that she sells her fabrics on, and I believe you can find her on eBay. She's got some really pretty fabrics. This one's tricky. It's got some pretty pinks and greens in it, which I thought would look nice with her flosses. So that'll be a new start. The other three are whips. So I will also work on Cathedral Woods Goddess. And I am working on 28 count ancient linen from Picture This Plus, and everything is called for. I really like this fabric. I got a big piece, enough to do hers, and ouch, boogers, a perm chart that I finished, that I showed, I forget how long ago, a year or so ago. And then I'm also going to work on the Rose of Sharon, which I'm doing her all called for with the exception of her hair. And I am stitching her on a Chromatic Alchemy opalescent Lugana in the color Petra, I believe. Although they're not dyeing anymore, so you can't get it. Which makes me sad because I loved her fabrics. So that's where I am on that one. It's hard to get the color to show up. It's got some really, like some really pretty peach tones to it. I just can't really get it on that camera. I don't do very well with their faces and arms, so I just like to get that out of the way, which I did get that out of the way. And I really used, I think I just used Stargazer's hair colors for her. And I'm also going to work on the Kiss. The Kiss and Rose of Sharon are out of print. I am doing with the, I subbed out some of the Mill Hills for Delicas. I'm nowhere near ready to beat it anyway. And this pink, it doesn't look pink. It looks kind of skin tone. It's more pink than it looks on camera. It's the called for fabric. It is 28 count linen. Okay. Yeah. That's all four. And then I'll also be stitching on Rogue Dragon because that is now my, since I finished the Dragonfly, that is my monthly focus piece, and Outlander, which will hopefully get a little more love. Okay, so now you get to choose between new starts or the one-timers for me to stitch on in December. After that, I'm not sure how I'm going to figure out what I'm going to stitch on. I made a big mess of this. All right, let's see. This is what happens when I do things more than once. Okay. So new starts would include Waiting for Ships, which I chose a piece of opalescent Twilight Lugana, which the opalescent is distracting there. It's really more subtle in real life. And these are her beads. I did switch out the dark blue for some amethyst. And these are the variegated ones I'm going to use for her hair, which you can't really see very well there. And these are all of her colors. So hopefully that'll look nice. The only thing I hadn't already received when I saw you guys last time was, these are her metallics. This is like a dark green and a gold. And then I was waiting for Mint Julep, which is 829. But apparently there's been some mislabeling because those two are definitely not the same. Luckily, I'm only going to need one. So said some people online. And because I posted a picture of the two of them together. It's hard to see here, but in the picture that I posted, you can really see the difference. I got some good intel on which one's the correct color. So, thankfully, Facebook comes in handy. I would also be stitching on He First Loved Us from my Big Toe Designs, which is going to be all the called for, which is if this one's all bunched up. This is a Country French Latte Linen, 32 count, and the Gentle Arts. They're really pretty. Whoops, sorry. They're like, I don't know, they're kind of like smoky, dusky colors. They're really pretty. And I would also be starting my Tree of Hope. I know somebody that voted for me to stitch on Fancy Ladies this coming month had suggested I add this one in. It's just one too many for me. Between the 2 monthly ones that I have and 4 others, I can't. I thought about it, but I just can't. It's just too many charts for me to stitch on in one 4-week period. Those are the water lilies. And these are their colors. Oops. And I would also be stitching, if you chose new starts, I would be stitching on the Harry Potter sampler, which I'll put a picture up because I do not have a cover sheet of that. Very similar to the Lord of the Rings sampler that I started a few months ago. So those would be the new starts. And then if you wanted me to stitch on the one-timers, that would include my one and only modern folk embroidery, the Namarie Tapestry, which I am stitching on a 28 count Lugana. I'm going to do 1/1, so it's going to be a lot smaller. And this is Dusk, and I am using Threadworks mint chocolate syrup, and that's the number if you're so inclined. And it's like a really pretty green. And I would also be working on Firewing Design Smoke, which I am only stitching the creatures, the star, not the words. My only regret buying this fabric is that the called for variegated that I have is really going to blend in with this fabric, but I hope I can just do like maybe a black back stitching around it, and we'll see what happens when I get there. So that's where I am on that one. Some of it's 2/2, some of it's 1/2, just to give it kind of like that smoky see-through look. And then I would also take out Alchemical Wedding from Thread Geeks. Not sure if I already mentioned it or if I did it in the previous recording that I did. Thread Geeks is really whittling down what they're going to be selling. So I think by the end of the year, a lot of what they have is going to be retired. So if there's anything that you've been looking at, there's a buy 2, get 2, I believe, right now. So now would be the time to get your charts if you're looking, or if you've been thinking about it. So that's where I am there. And this is 1/1 on 28 count, and that's just an even weave that I got on Amazon. And then I would also be taking out Storyteller, which I have got just a tiny little start in the front of his chest. And I am doing this just on a white opalescent. And that's where I am. So those one-timers would consist of the Storyteller, Alchemical Wedding, Smoke, and the Namarie Tapestry. If you want me to do new starts, that's going to include Tree of Hope, Waiting for Ships, the Harry Potter sampler, and He First Loved Us. I did the giveaway. Showed you my progress. Okay, so now I'm going to spin. So if you're not interested in my spinning for 26 for 26, then you don't have to continue to watch. Anyway, so I'm going to spin for my 3 groups. My Etsy is going to get 4, Joan Elliott's going to get 2, and Ink Circles are going to get 2. So let's see what we get. Oops, sorry, I had this on, but it is now not on anymore. All right, Etsy shops. Oops. Moria. So that's I'll pull them all out and then add a little video at the end here. That is my Mine of Moria door that's got the glow-in-the-dark floss. Harry Potter sampler. Right slice. 2 more. Oh, the moon. Well, if you've watched me, you know that I haven't had fun stitching that moon, but I'm close to being done. So that means if I finish that, I can spin again from this group to put something else in there. This will be the last one. These are the things that are going to go into my 26 of 2026. And the Hobbit door. Okay. Hobbit door. Okay, so these I will pull out and show you as soon as I spin the rest. So now we get a spin for my ink circles. There's only 4 ink circles, so I'm going to spin 2 of them. Water. Water is my elemental dragons. Most of my ink circles are elemental dragons, with the exception of the beaded one that I'm doing. Air. So we're going to do water and air. Water and air. Make it to 2026. Okay. And then that just leaves Joan Elliott. Whoops. I got an ad. Okay. Joan Elliott. I have 4 Joan Elliott charts, so I'm going to spin for 2. Madonna and Child. And last spin. Celtic Twilight. So that one's kind of smallish, so it's like one of the bigger ones and one of the smaller ones. Okay. So I am going to go grab those and then I will show those to you. Okay, so I pulled out the charts that I spun and the ones that are moving on to 2026. My 2 ink circles is Elemental Dragon Air. These I just had out not that long ago, so you guys have seen these recently. That's where I am on that. And also water. I was kind of hoping Earth was going to get picked because I have quite a bit done on that, but that's okay. This is one of those fabrics that never shows up right. It's a little more blue than you can see on camera. And I'm doing those all on 18 count using Weeks Dye Works. And then my 2 Joan Elliott charts that are going through. One is Madonna and Child, which I bought as a kit. And I'm using all the floss that came, but I switched to a Fiberlicious Yummy Fibers hand-painted 28 count Lugana After the Rain. I just had her out not too long ago too, and I got her face, most of her face done. And then I'm going to also work on Celtic Twilight, which my plan is to not stitch the border. It's kind of even hard to see here, but there's, I'm assuming since it's Twilight, that's a moon or either way. But I am doing it on a 28 count Lugana in the color Barnwood from Picture This Plus. That's where I am on that one. So it's going to be my 2 Joan Elliott charts for 2026. I mean, I'm assuming if I'm going to finish one, it's probably going to be that one because it's smaller. And then I'll spin the wheel again. So for the Etsy charts, one was Dusky Stitches Hobbit Door, which I converted to browns because I just thought, technically I think Bilbo's door might be green or yellow, I forget now. But either way, I just thought it looked more earthy. And this is a fabric flare that I do not remember the count or the color of. This chart, I kind of moaned a little bit when I spun it because I think I'm using it now on Adobe maybe, but I had it in the not Pattern Keeper, but Markup RXP, and then I don't know what happened. I don't know if it'd been too long, or I don't even know what happened, but when I went in, it was gone. I'm sure I did something. And then I'm also going to work on, well, another Lord of the Rings one, the Gate of Moria. I don't believe this seller is on Etsy anymore. And I am doing this one on a 28 count charcoal Lugana with glow-in-the-dark DMC. And the other chart that, wait a minute, nope, I've got one more. Say I picked 4 Etsy charts because I have so many Etsy charts. One would be that Harry Potter sampler, which I'll put the picture up again because I don't have the cover sheet. And then this is the moon. This was my first ever stitching 2/2 on like a Lugana. Anyway, there's a lot of mistakes in this. Like, it might not even look like the moon anymore. Honestly, I'm not even sure which way it goes. Maybe it goes this way. So I have also played around with just UFOing it and not even finished it. But since it got picked, I will finish it and try to figure out if it looks like the moon when I'm done. So I originally planned to make that for one of the kids, but I just never finished it. Okay, so those are going to join my 26 of 2026. So I hope you all have a really nice November. And for those of you around here, I hope you all have a nice Thanksgiving. And I will see you at the beginning of December. Bye.